MARCH provides the only comprehensive trauma treatment system for treating the 5 leading causes of preventive traumatic death. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel, man. I'm stoked to see you. So I have a MARCH IFAK kit that we're gonna dissect a little bit here, and we're gonna run through this and see if it's something that you need to add into your kit bag. Let's get to this. This is not a paid promotion or anything else other than that. It's just my observations based off of the IFAK kit and resupply kit that we're getting in. So I'll leave some links down in the comments below, so if you want to check any of these things out, you can run off and try to add some stuff to your kit bag. Because I think at the end of the day, you know, if you go to a store and you're trying to buy a first aid kit, you're not going to find the items that are in this trauma kit, and that's what it is, and that's one of the biggest differences. This MARCH IFAK Resupply Kit is a trauma kit. It's not made for bumps and boo-boos and scratches and owies. It's made to save people's lives. Now, but we're going to get into this here in just 2 seconds, but the other disclaimer I need to tell you is what I'm going to show you is more for entertainment value and of what's in here. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not a medical doctor. This is not professional guidance or advice, but I can tell you based off of my experience, this is some good stuff in here. So let's start to break this down. Right, and so here it is. This is the MARCH IFAK Resupply Kit. You can find these things online. You can find some similar products on Amazon, but it's through combatmedicalsystems.com is where you can find all these things. I'll leave some NSNs and some other stuff down in the links below. And so it's just a small IFAK. Now, you're not going to fit all this in your standard IFAK, but you know, whether or not you're in a unit and need to order some of these, if you have a commercial operation that you're running and you need some trauma kits, if you're just thinking about, you know, SHTF moments, you know, and driving down a freeway or interstate and what you may need to be prepared for, and you want something in your trunk that you can throw in to a situation to help assist those in need, this is a great one. So you got the contents, right? You got the contents here, and there's quite a few things in here between the tourniquet and a quick start guide, and that's actually where we're going to start, is with the actual quick start guide, because I want to show this to you. So this quick start guide is all color coded for how it's operating, and so red, massive hemorrhage, green airway, blue respiration, gray circulation, and purple head and hypothermia, right? And so everything that's in the kit relates to something that's on this item in this quick start guide. So everything, and we'll look at these in no particular order, but just going all the way through kind of tells you what the item is for, and then we'll tell you kind of how to use those particular items. So it's really cool and handy, especially if you don't have any first aid or combat, you know, support experience or education on your kit bag, and you need a little something more than just WebMD. This is a really good resource to have, and I would not throw this away. On that note, seek out some local first aid classes and get involved and get yourself smarter. So first up is the Rapid Man, and this thing is designed as a means to stop moderate to severe bleeding and trauma, such as a gunshot or stab wound. And so it's just a few easy steps that you need to do to apply this thing. Is obviously rip it out and then apply with the compression bandage, and then wait 3 to 5 minutes and kind of reassess. But this thing is going to stop some moderate to severe bleeding. So again, you know, we're not talking about a boo-boo. You're not putting this on a small scratch, but a severe laceration. And then we have the Tactical Mechanical Tourniquet, or the TMT. And of course, this thing is a rapid deployable means of stopping severe hemorrhaging, right? We're talking about, you know, bleeding that you can't stop any other way through some applied pressure, and you need to ensure that you stop the bleeding so that you can save the life. Now, there's all kinds of guidance out there, whether or not, as far as where you want to apply a tourniquet. You're never going to go wrong by applying a tourniquet high and tight. So for example, you know, if you had a wound on your forearm, or even if a hand was amputated, again, this is not official medical advice. You know, you would not be wrong in applying a tourniquet all the way up here underneath the armpit. Again, and part of the reason is, you know, you never know what arteries may have been slipping and sliding up underneath, and you want to make sure that you cut all of that blood flow out of the equation. You want to make sure, of course, that you timestamp. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, tourniquets can be, by a medical provider, like you're not going to lose a limb right off the bat just because you set it in. So doctors, man, they know what they're doing. As long as they know what time that the tourniquet was set on, they know how to move forward from there to not only save the life, but hopefully maybe even save a limb. So a huge benefit, especially probably the single reason why we haven't had near the casualties in combat like we've seen in Vietnam and Korea and previous conflicts is this thing right here, right? Stopping hemorrhaging has saved more lives than anything else, regardless of the training or the technique or the procedure or the equipment. And this is it right here. So you can imagine the value added, again, if you have something in the trunk of your car and you come across a bad vehicular accident, whether it's yourself or somebody else, and you need to render some aid, right? Huge, huge, huge. Right, and then we have the pre-lubricated nasal airway. Man, this thing is not fun to have input inside your nose, and I'll tell you on that note, you have to practice, right? You have to practice. So find yourself a battle buddy, get into some classes, get into some training, and have fun with these things. Like, it sucks. But of course, these things is to help sustain and maintain an airway so that you can, those are the two biggest things, right? Stop the bleeding and start the breathing. You do those two things and odds are you're gonna be able to save a life. And then with anything, of course, you're gonna wanna reassess every few minutes, man. Shove it up the old nose. Right, and for our respiration, we have a Sentinel chest seal, right? And this thing, of course, is going to be applied maybe to an open chest wound, right? And of course, the things that we're worried about here is ensuring that the patient can continue to breathe. And so this can really help prepare and save a life, especially if something has impacted the chest cavity to such a degree that you're worried about maybe a collapsed lung, right? So that is not something that you want to have to deal with, and so being able to and being prepared to ID and expose that wound and apply this chest wound by hitting the liner and then the adhesive, and of course looking for your exit wounds and treatment, and then reassessing every 3 to 5 minutes. Man, this thing is again not for a boo-boo on somebody, right? We're talking severe trauma. Right, and I know by now I shouldn't have to tell you, but man, if you have been enjoying the content, make sure you smash the like button. And if you want to stay up to date on some future content, subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell. Right, and you'll notice that I'm not opening anything up. I'm leaving everything sealed because this stuff is expensive, right? And it's priceless. And once I go and I break this apart, like if you're going to do some training, it's fine to have some training aids. But I mean, this thing is really good stuff, and I appreciate my money just like you do. So next up is the dart, and it's a means to provide rapid relief of tension for pneumothorax in a trauma patient. And so you're gonna insert the needle and catheter all the way to the hub, man. You're gonna remove that needle and reassess every 3 to 5 minutes. Then we got a simple rolled gauze, right? This just means providing the ability to pack a wound and to stop some mild to moderate bleeding from some penetrating trauma, right? So typical open wounds, gashes and thrashes and some serious lacerations that may not need a tourniquet that you should be able to stop, so you can pack that wound with this gauze right here. And then we got the battle bandage, right? And this thing is a means to apply some serious pressure to stop against mild to moderate bleeding, also from some penetrating trauma. So you want to, of course, make sure you check for a pulse before you start applying this thing. Use the Celox or the roll gauze, and then, of course, continue to reassess every few minutes. Right, and the other thing that we have in our kit bag here is the battle wrap, which is also to apply some pressure to stop that mild to moderate bleeding on a victim. And we want to, of course, make sure, again, we're checking for that pulse, using the Celox if we need to, and then packing it as needed, and then hitting this battle wrap on to apply some good pressure to that open wound. Right, and the last piece of medical kit that we have here is just the simple eye shield, which of course to treat traumatic eye injuries, which, man, I hope we never have, right? Wear your dadgum eye pro. But you want to make sure that you do, take care of both eyes and close both of them if you need to. But get this thing applied and continue to reassess, man, and call and get that dude some support, right? I mean, come on. And then last up, we got just in a sealed bag, we got some latex gloves as well to help protect you and your victim as well. All right, team, so there you go, man. That's what's in this March IFAK resupply kit. Let me know what you think down in the comments below if this is something that you want to add in your kit bag or what you carry to treat for trauma beyond the boo-boos, scrapes, and the owies. And we'll keep this conversation rolling, man. I appreciate all you guys. Until then, y'all, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.